Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about bones of cranium. So let's start our topic with introduction. Cranium is part of skull that surrounds and protects the brain. It forms the upper and back portion of skull and provides attachment point for muscles of head and neck. Cranium consists of 8 bones which are firmly joined together by immovable joints that are called sutures. These bones create a strong protective cavity for the brain while also forming the structure of the head. Classification of cranial bones. There are 8 cranial bones that include 4 unpaired bones that are one frontal bone, one occipital bone, one sphenoid bone and one ethmoid bone. Then there are 4 paired bones that includes 2 parietal bone and 2 temporal bones. Now let's talk about these bones one by one. So first bone we have is frontal bone. You can see in diagram the yellow color bone in front is frontal bone. It is unpaired bone, that means there is one frontal bone in every skull. Next bone we have is parietal bone. You can see the blue color bone just behind the frontal bone is parietal bone. It is paired bone, that means there are 2 parietal bones in every skull. Then we have is temporal bone. You can see the red color bone below the parietal bone is temporal bone. It is also paired bone, that means there are 2 temporal bones in every skull. Next we have is occipital bone. You can see the purple color bone just behind the parietal bone and temporal bone is the occipital bone. It is unpaired bone, that means there is one occipital bone in every skull. Next we have is sphenoid bone. You can see the green color bone sandwiched between frontal bone, parietal bone and temporal bone is the sphenoid bone. It is unpaired bone, that means there is one sphenoid bone in every skull. Next we have is ethmoid bone. You can slightly see the ethmoid bone in this diagram. You can see it in the front area just behind the nasal cavity. Now let's talk about these bones in detail. So first bone we have is frontal bone. It is located at the front of skull, as you can see in the diagram. It forms the forehead, the roof of eye socket and parts of nasal cavity. It contains the frontal sinuses which reduce the weight of skull and resonate the voice. It articulates with parietal bone at the coronal suture. Next cranial bone we have is parietal bone. It is large bare bone that is located on the sides and roof of the cranium. They meet each other at the sagittal suture on the top of the skull. They articulate with the frontal bone anteriorly, occipital bone posteriorly, and it articulates with the temporal bone laterally. Next cranial bone we have is temporal bone, as you can see in the diagram. It is found at the lower side of skull near the ears. Important features include external auditory meatus, that is also called as ear canal, mastoid process, that is attachment for neck muscles, stylite process, that is attachment for tongue and throat muscles, and petrous part, which houses the organs of hearing and balance. It also forms part of temporomandibular joint with the mandible, which is the only movable joint of the skull. Next cranial bone we have is occipital bone, as you can see in the diagram. It is located at the back and base of the skull. It contains the foramen magnum, that is a large opening for the passage of spinal cord. It articulates with the first cervical vertebra, that is also called as atlas, to allow nodding movement of the head. It also provides attachment for neck muscles. Next cranial bone we have is sphenoid bone. It is a butterfly-shaped bone that is situated at the base of skull. It extends across the cranium, connecting with many other cranial bones. It contains the sala turcica, that is a depression that houses the pituitary gland. It also contributes to the floor of cranium and sides of the orbit. Next cranial bone we have is ethmoid bone. It is a light spongy bone that is located between the eyes. It contributes to the medial wall of the orbit, the roof and sides of nasal cavity and parts of nasal septum. It contains the cribriform plate, which has tiny opening for passage of olfactory nerves that is responsible for sense of smell. It houses the ethmoid ear cells, which are small sinuses. Functions of cranial bone. First function is protection, as the cranial bones surround and safeguard the brain. Second function is support, as the cranial bone provides structural framework for the skull. Third function is muscle attachment, as they offer attachment point for the head and neck muscles. Fourth function is that it houses special organs, as a cranial bone contains structures that are related to sight, hearing, balance, and smell. Fifth function is opening for communication, as there are foramina in cranial bones that allow nerves and blood vessels to pass through, connecting the brain with other parts of body. Conclusion of this lecture video. Cranium consists of 8 bones, 4 of which are paired bones and 4 of which are unpaired bones. They are intricately joined to form a strong protective case for the brain. Each bone has a unique features and specific roles, from housing sensory organs to providing pathways for nerves and vessels. Together they ensure both protection and functionality, making the cranium one of the most essential parts of human skeleton. And this is all about the cranial bones. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.